When you are able to let those things go, it gives you the opportunity to, instead of being down and in, to step back and start looking up and out. How is it going, ladies and gentlemen? This is Sean Barnes. I want to welcome you back to the Way of the Wolf. We're going to do a quick Q&A episode with a couple of questions that I have received recently that really perked my interest. And so I'm just going to go ahead and dive in. All right. I've been really struggling with this, and the situation is when a manager tells senior leadership that we shouldn't do something because it will break or fail, and then goes into all of the reasons why. But we are told to do it anyways. So we focus, we execute, we do everything that we're supposed to do everything that we can to mitigate the risks, but it fails anyways. Yeah, that's tough. And then that chain of events occurs over and over and over. Not just for weeks or months, but for years. This is beyond frustrating. The thing that I can't wrap my head around is, at what point does senior leadership get it? At what point do they think, man, this person, they seem to be right 95% of the time. Maybe we should listen to them. But it doesn't really seem to ever happen. Ooh, all right. In my opinion, I think this is what inevitably occurs when you have undeveloped leaders that find themselves in the most senior leadership positions. Now, to be fair, it doesn't even have to be senior leadership. You can be a project manager or a coordinator reporting into a manager of operations or a director or something like that, but there's a lot more context that's missing from this, but whenever I hear it, what comes to mind is this undeveloped leader has an ego, and they think that they are right all of the time. And it doesn't matter how many times you prove them wrong or they end up being wrong. If you are a high performer, and your team is full of high performers and you constantly deliver in spite of all of the issues and misguided direction that they are giving you, there's rarely going to be accountability at that senior level. So what do? Well, you keep fighting the good fight. You keep putting in the effort. You keep learning, and you get the wins when you can. Now, I have a little bit of experience in dealing with leaders like this. And it was frustrating beyond belief. If you've been listening to the show, you've probably heard the stories, but I kind of eventually got to this place where I recognize that nothing is going to change this person. They are who they are. So I have to adapt to work with them, to guide them, to lead them. Now, people that are in senior leadership positions that also have big egos don't usually take too well to being led. So you have to do it in a way that makes them feel like they aren't being led, like you aren't telling them what to do. How do you do that? Well, you build trust. You build a relationship with them. You go to lunch with them. You go to breakfast with them. You go in, sit down, have a conversation with them in their office, talk about their family, talk about their hobbies, talk about their kids, talk about all these different things, because you have to build a relationship with them. You have to get them to trust you. That is the first step. Once they trust you, it makes it much easier for you to come back in, have the conversation. Jason, man, I know this is the route you want to go, but this is what I've seen in the past. And I'm really worried that this is going to fail or we're going to run into these issues. Can we do this? And if Jason says, no, we're still going to do it this way. Okay, well, we'll do this, but can we at least do this? Now, if you have built enough trust, if you have built a strong enough relationship, Jason might be amenable to making some slight adjustments to mitigate some of that risk. He's probably still going to want to do it his way, but if you can kind of encapsulate and push off to the side and mitigate some of that risk, then you might have a better shot at succeeding. I know this is frustrating. I know this is challenging. I know all of you out there that are of this mindset to think, well, damn it, why can't we just do it the right way? I know what I'm doing. I have a track record of proving that I know what I'm doing. Can we just do it this way, please? Probably not. This is going to be a battle that you're going to continue to fight. The silver lining here is that you are learning new skills. You are learning how to deal with somebody that has a massive ego. You are learning how to inspire and influence and guide them into a direction that is better for the organization, that is better for your team. Again, it is frustrating, but you are learning new skills, and that is what you have to focus on. Now, if you extrapolate that out on a long enough timeline, you may get to a point where you just can't do it anymore, and you just leave. You go find another company that will appreciate and value what you bring to the table. And that's a conversation for another day, but don't throw your hands up and get flustered and frustrated and pissed off. Because what will happen, that frustration will shine through. Eventually, Jason is going to paint you out to be the bad person. He's going to think, man, Sean's over here just griping and moaning and complaining, and all I'm asking him to do is get this project across the finish line. They're never going to be able to see past their own ego. And yeah, that sucks, but what you don't want to do is tarnish your brand because you can't control your own emotional response. That doesn't work out well for anybody. You have to figure out a way to control that emotional response and keep moving forward. Keep doing what you've got to do to get things across the finish line. All right, let's see. Looks like we've got time for one more quick question. I'm new to a leadership role and feel like I'm not going anywhere. I'm so bogged down in the busyness of the day that by the end of it, I'm just completely exhausted. I don't feel the energy to focus on my own self-development. I want to, but how do I push through that mindset? All right. So a few things that come to mind for me here is when people are new to leadership roles, sometimes they struggle in letting go of the tasks and duties that bog them down. And there's a myriad of reasons that can be the case. But when you step into that leadership role, you have to start figuring out how to delegate those things to get them off of your plate. And I know your first response is going to be like, well, Sally's not going to do it as good as I do. And you're right. She's not going to do it as good as you do. But whenever you spend the time to coach and mentor and develop Sally so that she understands how to do it, how you like it done, and what the best way to accomplish it is, she will start to get there. it will take that thing off of your plate. Bonus, when Sally is comfortable and confident with it, she might figure out a better way to do it. Oh, that's a thing. There are people that are better than you at things. And when you step into a leadership role, you cannot view that as a threat. You have to lean into it and embrace it and appreciate it. Because when Sally takes this thing that you've been doing and makes it better, that's a good thing. And then you take this other thing that has been just bogging you down and you offload it over here to John and do the same thing. And then the other argument that I get on this is, well, if I delegate all of my things away, there's not going to be any reason to have me. Nothing could be further from the truth. When you delegate these things over to Sally and to John, and then all of a sudden the output of your entire team is starting to raise, that's going to reflect positively on you. That's going to reflect positively on Sally and John and Jason and everybody else on the team. But a prerequisite for all of that is you have to let go. It's not going to be easy. Quite frankly, it's going to be challenging. And it's going to be scary, especially for those of you that are control freaks and need to have it done your way every single time. And if somebody comes up with a different way of doing it and you start getting anxiety, it's not a good thing. But at the same time, it is. Because that's how organizations grow and scale. You have to be open to new ideas and better ways of doing things. One of the things that I actually love sharing with the people on my team is that good ideas win over hierarchy every single day. If you are of the mindset that you are the leader and everybody has to do it your way, you are doing yourself and your team and your company a disservice. So you have to let it go. When you are able to let those things go, it gives you the opportunity to, instead of being down and in, to step back and start looking up and out. You can start looking around at the broader picture. You can start getting a better sense of what's going on in the entirety of the organization because you will have the capacity to do so. You will also have some additional free time to focus on building yourself and building new skills so that you can more formally step into that leadership role and become a more effective leader for your team. Okay, I think that's all we got for the show today. We will just go ahead and wrap it on that. Thank you so much, and y'all have a good one.